4 DNFs, can we even fucking cope? Hi book besties and welcome back to my channel. I am Tia if you are new here. It's officially July, so that means a June reading wrap up. I know we're already like almost a week in, but that's okay. I don't know if you want to call it the best month yet or the worst month yet, depending on how you want to look at it. Also, I've just got some toes today, so ignore this. It's just where I've got the cling film on. I've literally just got home, and then I'm going to, after I film this, I'm going to take it off and go for a shower. So ignore that. I've not got like a plaster there. It's just my tats. We had eight 5-star reads this month. I think that's my best month yet. That is my best month yet. But we also did have 4 DNFs, so it was a very mismatched month. The 4 DNFs were arcs, which I speak about in my I've got another arc vlog coming, so I will speak, you'll see my in time reactions of those, but obviously I will dive into them today. Let's start with the ACOTAR deep dive. So last month you would have seen I read the first 2 books in the ACOTAR series. The first book was okay, it was a bit slow, Favour was getting on my nerves, but the second book, spoon feed me that on my death row meal. Honestly, one of the best books, probably my favourite of the series. Yeah, I think just because recent I'm a sucker on chapter 54 and 55. Girl, that's what I want on my fucking headstone. I'm not getting buried, I'm getting cremated, but that's what I want. So let's start with A Court of Wings and Ruin. 5 stars. This one ruined me in the best way possible. The tension, the war, the character arcs, chef's kiss. It is long, yes, but it did give me everything I wanted and more. And I also did sob. If you are a Reason lover, then you're gonna love this, but also you're gonna like, this is gonna break your heart. I will say during this book and also the next book, which is the little novella of Court of Frost and Starlight, I hated Nesta at this point. Let me just tell you, that's where I'm at. This was only 3 stars. It was a little novella, like, honestly, it felt like a glorified holiday novella, if I'm honest. There was cute moments, but it wasn't super necessary. But still, I did enjoy the cozy vibes and the post-war healing. Like I said, still hated Nesta. Yeah. So going into Court of Silver Flames, I'm hating Nesta and I'm thinking, why the fuck are we getting a whole book of her? But we're also getting a whole book of Cassian, so I'll let it slide. Which brings me to probably maybe my second book in the series, my second favourite. Like, I don't know, A Court of Wings and Ruin I did love, but I think this might be my second favourite. Like, this is probably the spiciest one, I would say. I wouldn't say any of them super spicy. Like, when I heard that, obviously the first book is not spicy at all, but when I heard like the spicy severity gets a lot spicy, like compared to other books, like where, like this is probably as spicy as it gets, and even this isn't like super spicy. Regardless, I rated it 5 star. This was everything. Nesta's growth, Cassian being the ultimate book boyfriend, the spice that was in it, hold the headboard, if you know you know. The emotion, it had me sobbing, screaming, blushing. Easily one of my top reads of the year, to be honest. Now let's just rip the band-aid off and we're going to go in with the DNFs, which basically happened consecutively, barring one of them happened before one of the next like books that I'd go through, but then the other 3 were literally just like bang bang bang, so it was not going well for me. So first we had, I'm going to put it up here because the actual book doesn't have the cover. It's called In the Sea of Thorns by Fida Kabir. I want to say, I'm sorry if I butchered that name. Yeah, I just couldn't connect with the writers or the characters in this. I think I DNF'd at like 6% maybe. So the FMC's age was actually upped a year or 2 to 18. I think she was like 16 or 17 originally, but she just felt so childlike still, and I just couldn't gel with it. Basically the premise of this was like she got kidnapped. I don't know if she was being like sex trafficked or anything like that, and then this guy, this older age gap guy, basically saved her. I don't know if it was like her dad's friend or something, but then he she gets a stalker, calls him Ghost. He like follows her around, leaves her roses, like lets you know she's there, and it just, yeah, I think because her age was originally so young and she's still very, very childlike, her POV, and like a bit immature, it's really hard to get over like someone that sounds and seems very young, someone with an age gap. Like, I don't know, that's just me. So a lot of people did DNF this in the reviews, but unfortunately just it wasn't for me. Then we had A Dance of Madness. Yeah, Dance of Madness by Jagger Cole. This one I only got to 8%. I expected like a dark, twisty, but it just didn't deliver the way I hoped. Like the MMC was just insufferable for me personally, and I don't think I could get through a whole book with, obviously it's dual POV, but with any of his POV. This one I can't remember what it's about. I think it's like this dark guy goes to chase this girl, that's what he's into, and yeah, to be honest I can't really remember, but yeah, the MMC was just not for me. Then we had Hollow by Alta Hensley. This one I actually got to 22%, so a lot more than the others, but like the premise of this was good, but it just felt really, really flat. I couldn't push through. I was very, very bored. This girl goes back home, well, not back home, but like back to an island where I suppose they've got a holiday home. Like her family's really rich and she's very, very sick. Like she's got like a chronic illness and she's very insufferable with it. Like she's very like, woe is me, like very bitter. I speak about this in my vlog, but she's like, oh, they've put all my stuff away. Like, God forbid I can't put my own stuff away. Or she's not near the wedding preparation. She's like, oh, you can't have your sickly kid near there. And she's just like bitter the whole time. And yeah, it was just, and I was just bored at 22%. I don't want to be bored at 22%. I want to be into the story. Like, do you know what I mean? Then we have Tell Me All Your Lies by Angel Anders. This one I only got to 6%. This is like maybe a soft DNF. I just wasn't in the mood for it at the time. Like I had just finished a 5-star read, or yeah, I'd finished a 5-star read and I just really couldn't get into it. I may return to it later, but for now it's a no. But it's dad's best friend, they're like secret agents, and yeah, I'm a very mood reader and I just wasn't in the mood for it and I couldn't get into it. So I didn't want to force myself to read it and then hate it. So then we had 3 absolute bangers in a row. Like we brought it right back up, and we had 3 5 stars. So we have Caught Up by Nevessa Allen, which is this was 5 stars obviously. It's the second book in the Into Darkness series. So Lights Out was the first one, which I rated 5 star. Absolutely loved it. This I loved for a different reason. The first one was very comical. This one isn't. Like, this is a second chance romance. People that used to sort of like date in high school or college or whatever, and now they're adults and he's obsessed with her, kind of like a bit of stalker romance as the first one is. She's a cam girl, he obviously rides a motorcycle, hence the helmet. Tension, spice, emotion, yes, yes, yes. If you haven't read this one, add it to your list immediately, but I did prefer the first one. Then we had The Fate Date Agreement by Ember L. Nicole. This was a 5 star. This is a Y choose. This was my first Y choose, like proper Y choose. I wouldn't class Credence as a Y choose. So this was my first one, and basically it is about 3 hockey players and this girl who is plus size. Her boyfriend cheats on her. Basically she decides with these guys that she's gonna get a bit of revenge. They're gonna fake date her so that she looks good for the thing, and also it keeps the girls away from them while they're in like their hockey season. And this is just like fake dating and Y choose done so right. It was swoony fun and surprisingly heartfelt. Like I loved all of the characters differently. I loved the spice in this. They were very, very attentive, and basically like her happiness and everything was the most important thing, and I loved this. Then we had Whisper Pretty Lies by C.S. Berry. This is another Y choose, so because I had this, I loved that one, the Y choose one. I thought, why not go into this? This was again 5 stars. This was unhinged in the best way possible. Like messy characters, addictive plot. It gave chaos, but I loved every second. This is a bit of a bully romance, so it's a little bit of a bully romance. A lot of oral, if that makes sense. I mean, obviously that makes sense, but it's a lot of oral. It's also, one of the guys is her new stepbrother, so it's bully romance, why choose stepbrother. Yeah, this ends on a cliffhanger. The next one isn't out until Halloween, but I fucking loved this. Like, this is very, very smutty, but the pure vibes alone, like, this was amazing. Then we had Sinful Ruin by Charity Ferrell. This was 3 stars. It had potential, but something just didn't click for me. It's not super memorable, but it's not bad either. This was my first mafia romance at the time. Oh shit, I've got pins and needles, guys. And basically the male main character gets the female main character in an agreement, and she has to become his bride. And it's very much like enemies to lovers. Yeah, it just felt very, very rushed. Like, that's why it's only 3 stars. Like, I had a good fun time, but it just felt really, really rushed. Like, the connection just was like there was a lot of sexual chemistry, but then the actual connection, like the emotional connection, just went from like 0 to 100 real quick, and I didn't really like that or believe it. Then we had Her Hat Trick Daddies by Ruby Hayes. This was another why choose. It's a reverse harem hockey smut, basically. It was spicy, yes, but it was more fun than deep. So these 3 guys and this girl have a one-night stand at a masquerade ball. They don't know who each other is. Like, the friends know each other, but like they don't know who the woman is. The woman doesn't know who they are. She accidentally ends up getting pregnant. Like, very first chapter, this is the premise of the book. 3 years later, almost 3 years later, she has obviously this kid that she's doing. She gets a new job, recognises these guys through their tattoos and scars, realises them, and sort of goes from there. That was like the plot, obviously, that she has the kid, but I felt like it was just a lot of spice, like I said, a lot of fun, but not really too deep. Like, they could have got a lot deeper with this, but yeah, the deep plot bit just was like kind of brazed over, or just went really fast, and then the smart is where you were like in it, I suppose. I had enough of arcs at this point, because I had some good ones. I had a lot of DNFs, and then I just got some flat ones. So I decided to go back to my physical books, and I read another mafia romance, which is Sinners Anonymous by some sketcher. I'm hoping that's how you say her name. This one had a cool concept, but it didn't fully deliver for me. Felt like it needed more like tension or edge. This is a really popular BookTok book, but yeah, I won't be rushing to read the next one. I have the other ones, but I'm not going to be rushing to read them. In saying that, there was parts of this book that had me giggling. Like, there was some very, very good scenes, but unfortunately overall it was just, yeah, I don't know, I just wanted a bit more. It just didn't feel like, I don't know, it didn't feel like a good time. I think I was in a bit of a slump when I read this, like, because of all the arcs. So yeah, this kind of just fell flat at the time for me, unfortunately, but it flappy though. Then we had Ruthless Creatures by JT Geisinger. This was 4 stars. My friend actually recommended this to me. She sent me some snippets of some one-liners that were in like page 40, and I immediately had to read this. This is also another mafia romance. This was like dark, sexy, addictively dramatic. I almost did give it 5 stars. I just needed like a bit more emotional depth to push it over the edge, and this was very much like on the male main character's behalf, very insta love. Then we had Phantasma and Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. This fantasy duo was magical, dark, and filled with so much tension, and it reminded me why I love fantasy romance so much. So we will start with Phantasma. This follows Ophelia and Blackwell, Blackwell is a phantom, Ophelia is a necromancer. She basically, her sister goes missing. She realizes she's gone into this game, Phantasma, where she has to compete these trials and basically win to find her sister. And this, honestly, these were both like 5 stars, and this had me on the edge of my seat. Like, my heart was racing. Like, in these trials, it really feels like you're in it with her, and for a book to do that, like, that's amazing. Like, I really felt like I was there with her, and I was on the edge, like sweating, heart palpitating, because I was like scared and worried for her. And the MMC is just like the banter from Blackwell is just chef's kiss. And then Enchantra we have here, this follows Genevieve, who is Ophelia's sister, and Rowan, who is a dark shadow daddy wraith. And Genevieve is on the hunt to sort of like, I suppose, find herself. She ends up going to Enchantra, which is another game type thing. This family have been in these games for God knows how long, playing this game every year, and she ends up falling into it, and she basically has to marry Rowan, and it's like a marriage of convenience. So if she doesn't, like, the only way you can play these games is if you are married to someone, so they have to get married and pretend that they are completely in love. And the tension is just, this is like they hate each other. Like, this is very much enemies to lovers. I absolutely ate this up. I actually preferred this to Phantasma. I know a lot of people don't, but I really did. Like, I'll put a picture of Rowan here as well, guys, because, well, I'll put a picture of Blackwell and Rowan, and then I'll put Rowan on his own, because he has a lip piercing, and he is, I mean, just look at him. Like, there's something about him. He is just absolutely gorgeous, and he is very calculated in what he does, but he's also like the sweetest soul as well. And this book almost had me sobbing. I was literally on the verge of tears, and if when you read it, like, you'll know, but it is beautiful. Then we went in with another arc, which is Changing Rules by Anastasia White. Now, this is a cute, simple romance. Nothing groundbreaking, but a nice palette cleanser. And the reason I went back into this, because I read the first one, you'll know, my May reading wrap up, and I absolutely devoured it. But the second one just felt really flat. Like, you understood why the first one ended on a cliffhanger, but it just wasn't, it was just there. Like, it wasn't, I would recommend the first one 100%, but I wouldn't recommend the second one. But it's a 3-star, like, you have to read it to know what happens. But yeah, it just it was meh. Then we had Flawless by Elsie Silver. So I had finished the Gold Rush Ranch series, so I had to start Chestnut Springs, and I was so excited to start this. This follows Rhett Eaton, baby, more like Rhett Eaton, Cowboy Romance. Hello, Cowboy Romance Supremacy. Rhett Eaton can run me over this truck, honestly. It was sweet, spicy, and totally bingeable. Like, I read this in a fucking day. Like, I couldn't put this down. Like, this was, and people say like the second book, like Cade, is even better, so I can't wait for that. But this man is grumpy AF, but a complete gentleman. Like, he's fucking grumpy, but he'll go and open her car door. Grumpy, but we'll move her to the inside so that he's walking on the roadside and she's on the inner pavement. You need to read this, honestly. The final book was another arc, so Loving a Vampire's Total Chaos by Aura Hayes. This was only 3 stars, maybe even 2.5. And Total Chaos is right. Like, it was fun and quirky. Like, the MMC was hilarious. He's the vampire and he was fucking hilarious. Like, he was so comical. But the plot was very predictable. It just felt really flat, and I could just see where it was going, and I just got really bored at like the 70% mark, unfortunately. And that is it for my June reading wrap up. But let me know what your favourite book this month was, or if you've read any of these that I've read. July's TBR is looking wild, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the chaos that's coming your way. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.